It's a beautiful morning for day 4 here on Harry Lake. The sun's behind us, so we're just getting a fire going, boiling some water for breakfast and coffees, and we're heading over to Bassoon Lake today. For breakfast today we got oatmeal. This is a 1,000-calorie oatmeal from Northern Scavengers. It's their recipe for that. We got coffee. We got a beautiful view. It is day 4 here on Harry Lake, and we're heading over to Bassoon Lake today. We're passing through Browns Bay and into Lake Peneche, and it should be about a 4.5 hour day. This is Frank Lake. It's just a little lake. This is about the size of it. And we got one more portage into Brown Bay. We left Brown Bay and now we're in Lake Peneche. Very large lake, lots of cottages. The water is actually nice and clear on this lake. We're just passing through Snake Channel, and that will bring us into Newton's Bay. And then we don't have much more paddle before our last portage for the day into Bassoon Lake. Today for lunch we're having summer sausage wraps with some leftover onions, cheese, mustard, and hot sauce. And we're just on a campsite before our portage into Bassoon Lake. This is camp for night 4 here on Bassoon Lake. Got the canoe pulled out of the water, some of our stuff spread out on this very thick and lush moss. Fire pit's up top here. It's been a beautiful day. The weather's been great. And we got a nice little view to the left. On top of this, it's really beautiful straight across. This is the smaller island on Bassoon, and the fire pit's just up top. Got all our firewood prepped, just our junk's kind of laying everywhere. And we got the tent stashed back here amongst the ferns, and we got the tarp up just because it was still wet from last night. Dry it off. We're not expecting weather, I think, until maybe Wednesday, Thursday, and then again over the weekend. And then the second water access is down here. And the first water access is better for the boat, because you can actually get out and stand on the rocks. This one just kind of slowly drops off, but all the rocks super slippery. Got the fire cooking tonight. For supper we're having chili mac. So we got some dehydrated chili, some KD, and I think we have some kind of Doritos to finish that off. Tonight for supper is chili mac, and I'm cooking the macaroni for a little bit. Rehydrated the chili first. I'm just cooking in the macaroni. This is the finished product of the chili mac with sweet chili heat Doritos. And this is our incredible view. For breakfast today we're having pancakes and got dried blueberries and dried cherries in there. I'm not too sure how that'll turn out, if they'll rehydrate or not, but that's getting ready for its first flip. And we have a beautiful morning here. Chef Cole is hard at work. Can we see it? There we are. Looking perfect. Here's the finished product of blueberry pancakes, and you got peanut butter slathered in there with maple syrup. And this is a beautiful morning, nice and calm and quiet out. It's going to be a hot day. It is day 5 here on Bassoon Lake. We're heading over to Fish Lake today. We got a couple short portages and a pond hop, and then we got have an hour and a half of open water paddling, and then a few more easy portages into Fish Lake. It's a beautiful day. There's no wind out. It's quite warm. Should be in for a really good day today. First portage of the day. Fairly overgrown. Probably the most overgrown portage we've been on so far. But they're nice and dry. We haven't hit any mud yet. This is High Lake. And we're back in the boundaries of Killarney. This is Bear Lake, and we're heading to the left of that point there. We got about an hour and a half of open water paddling before we get to our next portage. This is Goose Lake. It looks like a very large bog, and we're heading straight down to the Narrows at the far side and working our way down that. So we should have fun kind of meandering our way through this stuff. This is the beaver dam holding back Goose Lake. The paddle here wasn't actually too bad. We had to pull over a couple floating bogs, but for the most part it was pretty easy. It doesn't really look like there's much water leaving right now. We might be able to do a high water paddle after we pull out here, but I'm not thinking so. So I don't think we're going to be able to do that high water bypass portage. It's taking us kind of down into the thick. And there goes Cole. Very tall grass. Portage isn't too bad though. We're starting to see some water now. We might try putting in here and see if we can get the rest of the way. So what we thought we could paddle has very much dried up. After this little pool, it chokes down even more, and then there's a fallen tree, and then it's completely dry. And Cole's way in the distance back there. We've reconnected with the portage from where that muddy spot was. Probably another 100 meters, and back on track. There's a, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but there's a bunch of sunfish just chilling, checking out the boat. Maybe waiting for a snack. I think we're gonna have lunch here. And then we kind of make our way down to the right, and then we should be in the lake. Just left the creek, and this is Round Otter Lake. We have 2 more short portages into Fish Lake. This is the unnamed pond in between Round Otter and Fish Lake, and I think we're going to call this Arrow Lake. We've made it to Fish Lake, and and we are camping on this lake tonight. We just got to go about 20 minutes to a half hour up this way. This is camp for night 5 here on Fish Lake. Here's the fire pit, and we got all our wood processed. We cut a pretty big tree down, so we still got lots more back in the bush. Some nice benches, and there's an old potbelly stove. Got our water, and our tent's down here in the shade. We're gonna get a really nice sunrise tomorrow. I think it'll be coming straight up from the bottom of the lake. And we got pretty decent water access down here. It's kind of like a gentle slope out. Easy to get the boat out. There really hasn't been too many good water accesses for boats on the portages or anything. Either really rocky or really slippery slopes. But yeah, we're just gonna relax for the rest of the day. Maybe go exploring down at that end, or portage into Great Mountains down at that end. Go check that out. We're exploring out at the east end of Fish Lake, and we're starting to get into this floating bog. There's old beaver chew in there, lilies, and all kinds of good stuff to push our way through. This is the abandoned cabin at Fish Lake. Just have the fire going for some Norse sidekicks tonight. Beautiful view back here. So I just added all the dried meat and vegetables in there, and now I'll bring that to a boil and just let that all rehydrate before I add the fettuccine alfredo. So the meat and veggies have rehydrated, and I've added the fettuccine sidekick to that. And I will just let that simmer and all rehydrate. It's about halfway through now, and it's really starting to get thick and stodgy. It's going to be delicious. And here's the finished product. And this is our view for the night. Breakfast today, we're having more oatmeal. This is like an apple cinnamon one. And this is our beautiful view. A little bit overcast today. That's alright, give us a break from the sun. It is day 6 here on Fish Lake. We're heading over to Threenarrows Lake today. We're going to be passing through Great Mountain Lake and then doing some creek traveling for the rest of the day to get into Threenarrows. It's a nice cool morning. We got a little bit of overcast. Some clouds are blowing in, giving us a little bit of relief from the sun. It should be a really good day traveling that creek. So this is the end of the portage from Fishing to Great Mountain. And as you can see, it's very dry. And the shore is just all mud. So there's lots of trails walking up the shoreline trying to find a better place in. I don't know if we found it or not. We're gonna make our way out that way. Stuff looks and smells like we're going through manure. We haven't made much progress. We just gotta get out there, but man, is it ever tough. This is Great Mountain Lake. It was pretty tough pushing through that swamp, but eventually we found a channel, was able to get out, and we gotta paddle across this, and then our portage is straight and to the left. We're just coming up to Little Mountain Lake. This is Little Mountain Lake. We've made it to Kirk Creek, and we're just gonna have some lunch while we're here on this nice grass flat area. We're gonna have some sardines and tomato sauce, I believe, and then we're gonna head down that way. Lunch just fell off. And these are gonna be our sardine wraps for today. Right on the river edge. We're now on Threenarrows Lake. We just have a short canoe to our campsite for the night. So our campsite for tonight is straight across this, and we've been paddling through a bog. Lots of trees and good stuff. This is camp for night 6 here on Threenarrows Lake, and then we're backing on to Quartz Lake. That's kind of way in the distance, you can kind of see it. And we got this little private lake in behind our camp. Threenarrows is actually on the other side. We've already brought our canoe up top, and we got the fire pit. Haven't processed any wood yet, but gathered lots. We got to camp, hadn't done anything yet, and saw a black bear just on the other side there. He was walking along the shoreline the whole way. I don't think I can really see it from here. You know, I'll get a better view from down below. And so we got the tent up, and If we have to, we can put the tarp up above there. Yeah, the fire pit's got a great view. Pretty compact site, bit of a hike to get up here. And there's a waterfall on this site. I'll show you that in a bit. So we got our canoe stash because we're gonna go explore and see if we can get to Quartz Lake. Looks like there's a path on the other side. So yeah, basically that bear just kind of followed the shoreline, tucking in and out the whole way till about where it's all grass and green. This is the back side of the beaver dam leading into the next body of water. And then it flows down this channel. This is the upper body of water. If we would have dragged our canoe up this far, we may have been able to get a bit further. For supper tonight, we're having chana masala again. And it's on a very nice boil. And here's the finished product of chana masala. We got an arrow bar for dessert, and this is our view.